The next thing will be to create our graph. That's what is next on the list. So I just copy my graph from this original design and just paste somewhere right here. Where is it? Space here. All right, so first I will just what I would do is probably to explain how I draw this graph. So it's not some sort of plugin, it's just the way you draw your stuff. So I'll grab my pen tool. Let me show you a pen tool, and I will just draw any graph I like. Say from here, here, say here, 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 here. Yeah, cool. I'll click return. So this is my graph. I will give it any color I want. So let me make this 2. Let me change this color to, let me get the right color. All right, so we have this. So also for this faded gradient, I'll just do like the same thing. Just probably come here. Okay, come here. Just I want them to be on that line basically. See here. Here to this part. So yeah, I want it to, this one is going to be like a shape, not just an outline. So yeah, then I'll stop here. Cool, done. So this is what we have this one and we have this one, but I don't want this one to be like an outline. It's going to be like a full color. So I'll remove the stroke and I'll give it, let's say, let me use the original color, say this one. All right, but I want it to be under the line, so I'll place it under the line. So this is what we have. All right, so now this is what I will do to get this. This one is just straight edge. What I will do is just click on this and change this thing to say the corner radius to 20. Here you go, that's all. So we have our graph, and this one too, what I will do is the corner radius to 20. So but I don't want this part of this shape to be curved. So all I will do is double click on this guy and the corner radius to 0. Click on this part to corner radius to 0. So we have this done. Now this thing here is just gradient here. So I will just come to my field to linear gradient. So this upper part, I want it to be like this kind of blue or something light, and this one to be maybe something like this. Same thing, same color, and then we are good. I'll just drag this one back to this guy. So here we have our graph. Nothing special there. So this is how I achieved the graph. So every other thing too, you have to create them manually. You type your what these things, type your numbers, then you draw your line. All these ones, you draw it, you fade it to make it look like a real graph. All these ones, so they are done manually. So what I will show you here is I will just show you how I animate this graph this is like the simplest thing you can do. So now let me just go back to this, my guys that I created initially. Let me drag them here and remove what's here, bring this guy here. Probably need to expand this one and move this one here too. Sure, it's at the center. All right, so I have the same name. This vector 14 and vector 14 and 15 here, vector 14 and 15 here. Cool. So how do I animate this guy? Let me make this one. Let me make this one 4. Let me make this one so 4. So like I said, this is the simplest thing to animate on this board or in this design. So I'll just use like a white what's it called, a white shape to cover this up. Just cover it up. So I'll make it white to match my background frame. Then this vector 1000, let me just rename it to white cover. So this white cover, I'm going to copy it here and just paste it here. So same thing, same name. So but here from this page, all I want to do is just reduce it this way. So then I'll go to my prototype, from here to from here to, so I don't want to click anything. I want it to call, maybe I'll add after delay, maybe after some few milliseconds to move to this guy. So I'm not using on click, I'm using after delay. Let's say after delay like 100 milliseconds, and I'm using my, so at this point I think probably I want to use slow 600, and let me just say 600 just to see what's happening here. So let's play this guy. Split to screen. Let's restart. You see how it works. So let me change this load to say let me use my ease out. Let me increase this thing to 1000 milliseconds. So 1000 milliseconds is just 1 second. So let's go back. See how it works. So basically nothing is plotting, it's just the white cover moving from this end to this end, and that's all. So the white moving from here to here. So that's what, let me move this guy back to this part. So that's the same thing I did with this graph. So I have my graph, I don't need these two, let me just delete these guys. So I have the graph, I have the components that make up the graph, and I have like the graph itself, so the plotted graph. So at the plotted graph I have the graph, then it's covered with this white. Then at this point we have it, the white cover moves to this edge. So this, the animation is after delay. So is the after delay is 750 milliseconds. So this thing is going to move or start moving after 750 milliseconds. Now you remember everything, they are not coming in at the same time. The cards at the top might have comes in, and this part two should have come in, should have been arranged before this guy starts changing. So you have to know the time, you have to calculate your time very well to know, okay, this thing has to be done before this one starts. So now this one delayed after like 100 milliseconds, and the animation here is using 800 milliseconds to complete. Then it's after completion, or maybe almost after this one is complete, I want this guy to start. So you need to calculate your timing very well. So there's always room for try and error. So if you try one, maybe it's too fast, then you can come back, adjust the time. So here we have the time 7:50, and we are using a custom motion. So this is how it looks, this is how the curves look like. So it's fast at the beginning, then towards the end it's kind of moves steady. It's not going to be fast, it's just going to steady up, and that one is going to be done in 1000 milliseconds. That's 1 second. And here is what we have. So I have my hover effect here. So there's one invincible shape here. So I don't know if I can just make it visible. 100. Yeah, so this is it. So when you hover over this guy, this one pops up, and when you hover, there's another guy here, invisible as well. Let me make it visible. When you hover over it, this other one pops up. So, and here to this guy, let me Ctrl Z. This guy to this one is here somewhere around this part. Let me see if I can get him out. Let me check the name. This okay, June pointer. Let me come to this place where I will see June pointer. So this is June pointer. This is it. Is also at 0. Let me make it 100. So it's kind of smaller. And the opacity is at 0. So what I try to achieve here is, instead of when I hover over this thing and this one just pops, like just changes that, I want it to like change gradually to from a smaller to a bigger value, so it doesn't just disappear and reappear. So that's what I try to do here. The same thing for the one here. So when you hover, this one comes up. So for the structure of the graph, so here is what it looks like. So all these elements here, so this is the this is how it looks like finally. But at this one, everything is just arranged down here. Let me try to show. So everything from this one to this one at the side, this the month, and this one, so it just slides in like that and form a cool animation to form this guy. So when this guy is formed, then this white guy moves from here to here. So this one is called the plotted cover, and then also I have my lines, so just like that. So that's how the graph works. So I just have to come to my previous design and just bring in my graph. Just copy the graph, Ctrl C, and come here, Ctrl V. So my graphs are here. If I come here, go back to my, this one, I don't even know which one I'm using. Okay, I think, let me go back to check the flow. What flow is attached to this one? Okay, we are using flow 10. Alright, come here, flow 10. Here you are. Alright, so click on this. Yo, cool. Alright, so I think one white stuff is showing. I don't know how come one white stuff is showing. Something needs to be fixed. Alright, cool. Yeah, just like that. So we are done with our cards, and so there's these 3 cards here. So the same thing we did for this one, same thing we did for these guys. So the same thing we will do. So you create the you create the animation, or you create the component for all these numbers to be changing, and you create the background, and you create the content. So this is what we have here. So this is the background for those smaller card, 1, 2, 3, and then this is the content. So this is when it's first empty, this is when everything is done, and this is the content, the changing number, and also this one this is the repayment rate. So these are the numbers. So these are the numbers, the prototype for the numbers. So it starts from 0% to 80 basically. So same procedure, the background and this one, just add them to your design. So now another thing, so the beauty of this thing is the time, the delay time. So if we check when the background is coming in for this one, my time is after 200 milliseconds. So this one is coming in after 300 milliseconds. This one is coming in after 400 milliseconds. So the content for each of the card, the first card, the content is coming after 300. So the card for this one is coming in 300. The content is coming in 400. So this one, the background card is coming in 400. The content is coming in at 500. So you have to give it like, they have to be like the same time, so they don't come in at the same time. So and you have to make sure that okay, this your interaction, the type of motion and the timing you are using is consistent for all these cards since they are the same. So I will not go over that. I will just copy what I have on my original design and just paste. So I have these 3 cards. Let me just come to see, and we come here and we paste. So we have them here. So we have the content and we have the background. So this is the content, this is the background. So 2 things that is happening here. So we start, then here we go. So the beauty of all this thing is the after delay for all the cards and the contents. When they are coming in, they are not just coming in at the same time, they are waiting. So, and that's controlled by the after delay. So the next thing to do is this other pie chart here. That pie chart is, I think I would say, that's the most difficult part of this whole design. So the same process we'll do is the same process we've been doing is what am I saying? So the same process we'll be following, that's the same thing we're going to follow here as well. So we'll create the background and we'll create the content coming in, and we'll create this chart separately. So I've done that already. So for the pie chart, this is the background component. So this is when this the rectangle is under here, then this is when it comes up. So this one is simple, and this is the content. The content when or the content are down. This part is when or the content are just, let me just show that. Let me just so these are all the content. This is the active ratio, the more button, the male, female. The content here, these are how they are underneath, and this when they are all okay. So this one, let's take this one, this white component, as the numbers that was changing when we created these guys in the first place. So this number has its own component, but we use it inside this component. So the same thing for this guy. This is a component on its own, but we are using it here. So, and this is the component here. This is the graph. This is how I animated the graph. So like I said, it's not easy to do so, but I'll try and explain how to use that. But now this is the component inside this component. Yeah, basically. So this is the chart, and for the pie chart, the after delays, this one is waiting 200 before this one starts coming in, and the content is waiting 300 before coming in. So apparently most of everything I've done, the background and the content itself, have like a difference of 1 milliseconds difference between them. So, and the animation here is ease out 500. For this one is slow 400. So I think what I will do is I will just duplicate this my Figma file, publish it on the what's it called, Figma community, so anybody can download it and see all the interactions, and you know, they can use it, reuse it for their project. So let me just explain how this pie chart works. Let me start from scratch, because that needs a bit of explanation. Let me draw a frame. Let me use this frame. So now here, so for those that don't know how to go about, you know, drawing like those charts, so this is a circle. So what you might want to do is grab this arc here, so maybe like this, and so I want it to be like 60%. Okay, let me use minus 60, and my so to give it that kind of what's it called, I don't know what's called now. For this radius, sure, I'll use like I think 65. I think I use 65. Yes. So, and it's like this. So I'll give this one the blue color. So our ratio is 60-40. So the next one will be 40. So let me just explain something real quick. Let me drag this guy in, and let me duplicate this guy. So now let's assume this one is at this point initially, and I want it to animate to this point. So it will have been better if maybe at this point this one is here and this one is maybe here. I just drag it and it's just here, and I will just do my smart animate, my prototype, you know, come here. Let me just use after delay, let's say 200 milliseconds, then smart animate into this guy. Let me use 800. So flow 11, let me play this guy, but you see it doesn't work. All it does is just change. It's basically just changing. It doesn't smart animate. So how you smart animate, like what's it called, something like this, is when you rotate it, so it works with rotation basically. So let me delete this guy, let me copy this one and move it here. So the only time it works is when you rotate. So let me just say this one is rotated at this angle, and let me say, so the trick is you have to cover all this part that you don't need, maybe probably with a white, just cover it up with a white, what's it called, a white shape, so it doesn't show or nobody knows. So white, and move the white to this part too. So the white here, paste it here. What am I pasting? Ctrl C, Ctrl V, here the white. So let me say this one is rotated at this angle. So yeah, my interaction is still there. So after the late 200 milliseconds, change to this. So let's see how that works. You see how that works? Cool. So when you are doing your chart, you will need to rotate instead of, you know, just dragging the edge, because it won't work. So it works by rotation. So this is nice. So that's just the trick behind the charts. So just basically rotation and after delay and smart animate. So back to our flow 10. Alright, I think it's alright. So now this is what we are going to do with this chart. So it's a bit complex, but I will try to explain. So at first, this is the first frame. This is the first frame. Inside this first frame, I have how do I explain this? So I have this my guy. Let me come back to design. So let me turn this off. So now this is the original size of this. This is the original size of this my 60% pie. Yeah, but at this point I don't want it to show. I just want it to be plain. So, and my background is white, so I want this thing to be white, and so I need to at this part I need to cover it up with a white overlay. I need to cover it so that you don't see this blue, because the only way it's going to smart animate is when you rotate it. So first I'm covering it up with another pie, but they are white. But they are all white. That's the ellipse 30 and 29. So they are covering it is white, but it's there. Then we move to this frame. So what's happening here is, let me open this one up. Let me close this guy. The blue that is here, that is somewhere like this initially here, I've rotated it to this point. So let me go back to that first one. So this first one, this is how it is. So the angle is this, the angle, then I've rotated it to this point. So you see I've just rotated it. Sorry, just rotated it come on, this way. So I've just rotated it this way basically. So that's what I have here. Okay, let me cover that up. So now the coverings, those guys that are covering it are still there. So these white guys, so they are covering it. That's why all these other parts are not showing. So they are still covering it up. So now we are here. And now why I'm stopping here, why I'm stopping at this particular point is because those guys, so this those white guys, this is where they are. So this one is here. So if I move it beyond this part, this way is stop. If I move it to this place, it's going to be under this white guy. It's not going to show. So I need to first pause it here, then do another one. Then I created another frame, and now those white guys are here. So instead of being here, they are now here. So I have like room for this thing to rotate to come to this point here. So my next frame now, you see my blue is now rotated to like where my whole 60% is supposed to be, from here to here, and this those white covering are here now. So we move from here when the coverings, white coverings are here, we reduce them to this point. So now we need this guy to come in. We need this faded blue or this other shade of blue to come in. All right. So, and this white stuff, they are still here, so we need to eliminate this white covering so that we can reveal this other shade of blue. So that's when we created this new one. So at this new frame, those white those white covering are gone. We don't need them anymore. We only need them to cover this blue, and the work is done. So we don't need them here on this frame. So the only thing we need on this frame is this blue. Let me hide the blue, and this other light blue at this point. So if we want to make it to come to this part too, we are going to do the same thing. We are going to rotate it this way. All right, so we don't need those white coverings, since this blue is going to do the covering job for us. All right, so then at this point we have the light blue under this blue. Then at this point we have rotated it to complete the full what's it called, the full rotation. So now this is how I do the interaction. So let me go to prototype. So from here to here, I said wait 1 milliseconds after you are displayed, or 1 millisecond, like non-stop from here. Just smart animate linearly. So this part we are not using ease out, we want it to go straight, no drama, nothing. So that's why we are using linear. We are using 200 milliseconds. So comes here. So after getting here, I want you to move immediately to this next guy as though nothing has happened. So I don't want to have a situation whereby we are stopping this one, first stop, then it comes to this one and then move this one. It's not going to be smooth. So what I do is said, okay, after you get to this guy, wait after 1 millisecond. So I'm telling you, don't wait at all, and instantly change to this guy. So instantly, when this one is rotating from here to this point, instantly change to this one. So, and the change is so fast that nobody noticed. So it's going to come here, so I can eradicate this covering, this white, to give you enough room for me to move. So from here again, I give it another animation, like okay, from here smart animate to this part. So again, we are not stopping. 1 milliseconds, linear motion, same 200 milliseconds. So 200 milliseconds, we are here. So we need to remove this white covering, this guy that is covering it. We need to remove it. That's why we created this one in the first place. So here is removed. So at the same time, we don't want a situation whereby it's stopping then starting again. So my interaction will be after 1 milliseconds, no stop. That means we are not stopped. Immediately change to this guy, so nobody notice that we are having any stopover or we are having any delay somewhere. So it moves to this guy, and from this guy is smart animate to this one. So now the what's it called, we are not using linear here, we are using custom, because at this point, like now when you are drawing, so just like this graph that I did, like okay, in the beginning it was fast and later it was slow. So that's the kind of effect I want to have. So when he's doing this one, it was fast, then when he's doing the last one or the other part, is kind of slow. So that's why I have this kind of custom interaction here to have that effect. Then we have the hover. So when you hover, so I draw like a custom shape here. So that's what I had the interaction. So when you hover, so there's an hover effect. When you hover, you change to this guy that has this 60%. So when you hover on this custom shape that I draw here, it gives you this one. The color of the chart, of the pie chart, of this pie becomes a bit darker. Then this one too pops up. Then I draw another shape here. When you hover on this one too, the 40% pops up, and the color, this color is kind of darker. So that's basically what's going on here. So if I copy this guy now and paste it inside my design that we are currently working on, say here, let me just move it to this part and come here, start and play. You see how it works. So nobody really noticed all those stopover and changeover, whatever it is. So it's because it's very fast, the change is very fast and nobody noticed. So here we are. All right, cool. I'll just delete this. And so, you know, initially I said we are going to create the card and this thing. So this one, so this is the card, the background, and this is the one for the content. Now we are using this this graph that we've created, this component we've created for this pie chart. We are using it here. So we need to bring in our background and we need to bring this thing all together on each other. So I'll just copy what I have in my previous design. So the two are here all together. I'll just copy, Ctrl C. I'll come here and paste. So I have them on top of each other. So yeah, just like that. So come to my design, click, cool. So there we go. So that is done. So the major part of this whole animation is done. So the next thing will be this guy here. Basically what we are doing here, we are creating another component for this guy too, but this is not that complex. So I'll just show you what I've done. This is what I've done. So we have three variants of this guy. So let me just unclip this one, and so we can see what's going on here. These are the contents we have here. We have the recent activities, we have the viewer, we have this one all spaced out. So from here it's going to smart animate into this where everything is sort of like okay, like well arranged. So why do we need the second one? We need this third one or the last one too, because of this guy. So this guy is these two shape on top of each other. This one, the empty light gray, and this dark one. So at this point the empty one, everything is down here. Then the second one, everything arranged properly to this next one. But yeah, this one, the black bar is still everywhere. Then the third one, this one sort of, you know, just moves up to this point to give it that. Oh, this is that you can scroll down, like a scroll bar that you can scroll down. So that's just the three variants we have here. From here, so from here, this is how my prototype looks like. After delay 200 seconds before you move. So there are some like the first blue card, his own is just 1 milliseconds. So you have to like time all your this. I've said this over and over and over again. So from here to here, I use a custom motion 600 milliseconds to move it. So you can use what works for you. You can change the time. You can use any effects, any motion effects you like. So from here, and from here, after delay also 150 milliseconds, then it moves to this. So the only motion that is happening here is just this guy moving from a full scroll bar to the top here. So that's all. So I'll go back to my clip this content back. So I'll go back to my original design. So it's here. I'll just copy this guy and just paste it here. Cool. So let me delete this guy. So when I go to my animation restart, I click this, everything all sets. Yeah, so that's just the in and out of everything that I've done on this dashboard. I know there's another. Let me go back to this. Let me go back to this. Let me use the first one. Is it the first one? 8th one, the 9th one. Okay, the first one. And let me so when you click on this, have same thing, and when you click on your this thing, it's so let me show that again. This so I'll just explain that, but that might not be necessarily. So when you click on your interaction here, let me go to protect. When you click on interaction, it comes to this frame. You see how everything is arranged. The transaction is down here, all transaction is here, search is here, all these ones are arranged this way. Then after 1 millisecond, so it's not stopping. When I click on interaction, and it takes me to this what's it called, it takes me to this frame. It's not waiting here, so immediately it gets here, then immediately it comes here also, where everything is all arranged nicely. And it so basically that's what's happening here. Well, let me restart that. So let me, this is my hover, you see the 60 over, the 40 over here, and when I click on the transactions, boom, that's all. So yeah, that's basically it. So if you have any question, you can always reach me on Twitter. You can drop your question in the comment section of this video. And so on Twitter I'm at Bright Oferomi, or you can search the experienced designer. So you can just ask your question, or if you need more clarification, so I'll be willing to answer your question. So guys, that's all about all this all the interaction for this dashboard. So you can do something better, you can explore and get something beautiful done. So thank you guys. I hope to do more videos, more tutorial explanation video in the future. So don't forget to click on the subscribe button below. Yeah, thank you.